Two brand new coaches and a brand new prospect on the rise for the future. Welcome to NBA Off the Rim episode 1. Hello there guys, my name is Aaron Challoner and today we're going to be discussing three big talking points from the NBA. That is the idea of this series. We're going to talk about three massive talking points, or three or more massive talking points weekly from the NBA, the biggest league in the world for the basketball, and we're going to be sharing my thoughts on all of this, get some guests on in the future as well, and talk about all of these situations. So before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another YouTube video. And for now, we're going to get straight onto it and start off with the big story dominating the headlines over this last week in the NBA, and that is, of course, the brand new coach for the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, we know that the Pelicans fired their coach after a disappointing end to the campaign, and they brought in a very experienced NBA coach in Stan Van Gundy. So we speak about all the details surrounding this and then share my thoughts as to why I think this is a good appointment by the Pelicans. So let's start off with the stats and facts that we know about this appointment. So the news originally broke on Wednesday via multiple reports, and it was confirmed shortly after by Van Gundy himself via his Twitter. Now, Van Gundy has been serving as an NBA analyst for Turner Sports before agreeing to this deal, and prior to that, Van Gundy spent 12 seasons as an NBA coach from 2003 to 2018, serving in that role with the Miami Heat between 03 and 06, Orlando Magic between 07 and 2012, and the Pistons between 2014 and 2018. Now, Van Gundy was an assistant coach with the Heat from 1995 to 2003 before taking over as coach. Now, he spoke with Griffin, also a former Turner Sports NBA analyst, shortly after New Orleans was eliminated from the Orlando season restart bubble. He then met with Griffin, Pelicans general manager Trajan Langdon, and vice president Swim Cash 3 times before accepting the offer on Wednesday. Now, the Pelicans fired coach Alvin Gentry in early August after serving as New Orleans coach for the previous 5 seasons. Now, as a bit of a reminder, guys, as to why, Orleans have brought in a brand new coach, they went 30-42 last season, finishing with just 2 victories in its final 8 games, despite the presence of top overall draft choice Zion Williamson and first-time All-Star Brandon Ingram in the lineup until the club was eliminated from playoff contention with 2 games to play. Now, I want to share my thoughts as to what he needs to do to get this team back up and running. So now it's time to share why I think this is a great appointment and what he needs to do. So Stan Van Gundy, those of you who are diehard NBA fans will know he's an experienced coach, and he's got the experience needed to guide those players. And I think and one thing that I think lacked in the Pelicans team was leadership. And not just that, but playoff experience. That's the 2 things I was thinking about: playoff experience and leadership in that squad. And the 3 top players in that squad, the 3 highly rated players in that squad, including Ingram and Williamson, lacked playoff experience. They had no playoff experience whatsoever. So I think Van Gundy will bring some experience to the management side of this team, and he's going to give them that playoff experience. Now, in terms of leadership, he is looking towards Holiday as a true leader. Now, if you want some stats on this guy to prove why he's an experienced coach, then I'm going to give them to you right now. So Stan Van Gundy himself is a very experienced coach. Now, of course, especially in the playoff department. Now, he has 91 playoffs in total. He's won 48 games and lost 43. He has a win percentage of 0.577. And he has a record of 523 to 384. So that's a pretty good record. Now in Miami, Van Gundy's team never ranked lower than 10th in the defensive rating. It was 103.4 in 2005-2006. The Orlando team ranked in the top 5 in defensive rating for 3 straight seasons between 2008 and 2011. And the Pistons improved from 25th in defensive rating before his arrival 2013-2014 to a top 10 defensive team in the last 2 seasons. Now, in terms of looking into his team, obviously you've got Williamson, Ingram, and Lonzo Ball, who are younger than 24 and have the no playoff experience. You got Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who were also 2019 first-round draft picks, and the Pelicans have a slew of draft picks still to come from last year's trade of Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Now, as for the Williamson guy, Van Gundy told Bleacher Report he's looking forward to coaching the Phenom. So there's a lot for Stan Van Gundy to work with. And, I think there's a really good basis for this team, but it's just that whole thing of leadership and bringing in the playoff experience needed to improve these players' careers, especially Zion Williamson, first round pick in the draft last season, a couple of years ago. And, Zion Williamson definitely looks the real deal. He just needs that extra experienced manager to bring something out of him. And I think that Stan Van Gundy is going to be that guy. And I'm really excited to see what the Pelicans are going to do, because I think there's real excitement going around New Orleans with the addition of this experienced coach to go along with the exciting players they have. Lonzo Ball, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram. There's some really exciting talent, and I'm really excited to see them on show next season. So it's going to be a very exciting summer in terms of recruitment for the Pelicans. The draft is going to be very, very important for the Pelicans to recruit the right people for the future and get them in training straight away. So it should be interesting to see what they do with all that. But very good stuff from the New Orleans Pelicans. Now we're going to go across to another head coach appointment that's very close to home at the Los Angeles Clippers. And when I say close to home, I mean they've promoted someone into the coaching role. So Tyronn Lue is stepping into his brand new job as the coach of the LA Clippers, fully aware of the pressure to bring the first NBA championship to the long-suffering franchise. Now, if Lue needed a reminder, the owner Steve Ballmer proclaimed, "My personality is all about winning." It's nearly 2 years since Lue worked as a head coach. Of course, he was fired in Cleveland after a 0-6 start to the 18-19 campaign, and used the downtime to work on himself before joining Doc Rivers' staff in LA this past season. Now, he already has 3 NBA championships on his resume, 2 as a player with the rival Lakers and 1 as the coach of Cleveland when LeBron James played for the team. He also led the Cavs to the finals in 2017 and 2018, but both times they lost to the Golden State. Now, Lue went 128-83 in parts of the 4 seasons with them. Now, the Clippers, in the first season of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George playing together, went 49-23 this season, the 4th best record in franchise history. Leonard and George can both opt out to become free agents after next season. It'll be up to Lue to balance the personalities of his 2, Leonard and George, who by nature are quiet and reserved. He's dealt with superstars before, having coached James and been a teammate of the late Kobe Bryant. Now, Rivers established a winning tradition, taking the Clippers to the playoff in 6 of the 7 seasons, by far the most successful stretch in franchise history. Playing in the NBA bubble in Florida, the Clippers wasted a 3-1 lead over Denver and lost in the Western Conference semi-finals in mid-September, and it was only 2 weeks after that loss that Rivers was fired from the job. So this appointment, like I said, is very close to home. Tyronn Lue stepping out of the assistant's role, and after 2 years he's back in a head coach role, and he's with the Clippers. And I definitely think, it's so clear that the Clippers owner, Steve, he's got a mentality about winning. He will not take anything, any slack from the head coach. No NBA title in the next couple of years, he's out of the job. So he's got to galvanise that squad. He's got to galvanise the personalities of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. He's got to get them in a situation where they can both play with the personalities and win. And he's got to bring something new to this side. He's got to adapt that winning mentality from Doc Rivers, and he's got to bring it into his style of play with the Clippers. And it's going to be interesting to see who they recruit in the draft. And it's going to be interesting to figure out what they're going to do with them. And also with the free agency market as well. Who are they going to recruit? Who are they going to bring in? Who they're thinking about trading away? Who they're going to trade in? Who they're going to trade out? Who they're going to bring in on a free transfer? Who they're going to bring out on a free transfer? Who's going to go? So it could be a recruitment job for the Clippers this season, especially with the brand new coach coming in. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of things they bring into this team. Now, there were some positive words as soon as Lue came into the squad, because there were some comments made by him and also by Frank. Now, we've got the quotes that we're going to put on screen, and this is what Tyronn Lue had to say when he joined as the Clippers coach. He said in the following statement, as I quote, "We have work to do to become champions, but we have the motivation, the tools and the support to get there. I'm excited to get started." Now, Lawrence Frank went to comment saying, Ty has been where we want to go. He's a championship head coach with an extraordinary feel for the game and the people who play it. So some very exciting quotes there from the coaches down at the Clippers and the rest of the people, and I'm sure the fans of the Clippers will have a lot of comments to say, and of course Tyronn Lue himself with some excellent comments about his time potentially with the squad. And, you know, again, like the Pelicans, it's going to be a very difficult job to galvanise the squad and get them ready for a championship franchise campaign this next season. So it's going to be interesting to watch the Clippers over the draft, over the preseason, to see what they do with the new head coach. And it'd be interesting to see what kind of style Tyronn Lue goes with. Is it different to Doc Rivers? Is it the same as Doc Rivers, but a new form of style similar to Doc Rivers? And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. So, finally today on NBA Off the Rim episode 1, we're going to be looking at a future prospect for potentially the 2023 NBA draft. And this is a very exciting player that was doing some kind of workout with Rudy Gobert. And I want to talk about this guy because there were some articles about him as well. So, let's talk about this guy. So, of course, the player I'm talking about in question is Victor Wembanyama. The French basketball player stood out in a recent workout against the Jazz's Rudy Gobert and Celtics' Vincent Poirier. Now, following the workout, ESPN's Mike Schmitz referred to the 16-year-old French big man as arguably the best prospect in the world regardless of age. He has 7'3" height with a 7'8" wingspan, and he has the chance to be selected number 1 overall in the 2023 draft, according to Mike Schmitz. Now, he says despite his huge feet and thin frame, he moves like a wing. Not only does he put a lid on the rim like Rudy Gobert, but he also shows the floor spacing potential of a young Kristaps Porzingis with a far better handle and passing feel. So this is a big comparison. You know, comparing Rudy Gobert with the feel of a younger and possibly better Porzingis. And to be fair, Porzingis on his best day is one of the best players in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does leading up to potentially that 2023 draft. But it's good we're talking about these people now because it means you get to notice them straight away. And, you know, if Victor's watching this, it'd be great to, you know, chat to the guy at some point. And, you know, I think this guy definitely has a big future in basketball. I think from the looks of the workout video, and I have seen videos of it, he is definitely a bright prospect. I've seen highlights of this guy. He definitely is someone to watch, and I think that any team in the NBA would be lucky to have this guy. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I mean, that wingspan is amazing, and the height is just brilliant. It's like looking at a young Porzingis, like, you know, Mike Schmitz said on from ESPN. And, you know, it's going to be nice to watch this guy over the next couple of years grow, develop, and see where it puts him on the ranking board as we get closer to 2023. So there we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching the first episode of NBA Off the Rim. This is the first test of, you know, trying out the basketball content again. We're going to look at some more sports as well, so make sure you go put your comments down below as to what sports you want me to look at. But for now, guys, I'm Aaron Chandler. Thank you very much. Have an awesome evening, and good night. Have a nice day, guys.